First up, John Warner with the Waco Tribune Herald.
Hey, Scott, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Your feelings on going to Fort Worth. This is the closest regional Baylor's ever had, and then just the East region in general.
Well, really excited about Fort Worth, and the guys worked really hard to make that happen. Getting a number one seed 2 years in a row, and then with the COVID year, we were set to be a number one seed. So that had been 3 times in a row, and that's really rare air. There's only 3 teams that have done that since 2010. So a great accomplishment for what the guys have worked hard to achieve. And the perks of that are playing in Fort Worth. So excited about that. East Regional, no matter what regional you look at, no matter what game you look at, you're like, man, that's a tough game. And there's a reason. There's a lot of parity in college basketball. They call it March Madness for a reason. Sometimes you look at the numbers and 116, 215, 314 look like a big difference when us coaches know there's really not that big a difference. So survive in advance. You better be ready to go. Otherwise, you're going home.
Next question from Kendall Cott with Signal 365.
Scott, any update on kind of how Kendall's been since the tournament, and what's LJ's status, or anything else you can share about him coming into the next week?
Yeah, Kendall is he's a quick healer. He's doing fine. LJ, we'll see how things go during this week, and then know more obviously toward the end.
Next question from Stephen Hawkins of the Associated Press.
Scott, one of the things you talked about before the Big 12 tournament is you got a bunch of young guys that have played a lot of Big 12 basketball, but they hadn't really been in games like that tournament. Yeah. Obviously, you didn't get but that one game. Is that a concern, or how much do you think you can make them learn from that?
Well, I think first and foremost, anytime you lose, it's a chance to hit the reset button. Refocuses everyone. Nobody likes the feeling of losing, and from that, you're going to get the players are going to practice harder. Coaches will be more dialed in, and I think we'll be ready to put a best foot forward come tournament time. At the same time, you know that you might play well, and it doesn't mean you're going to advance. So we'll just try to, what we say, always control what we can control, and make sure that we're putting our best foot forward. But we're coming off a winning 5 in a row, and winning back-to-back conference championships. You never like losing, but after the loss, it did give us a chance to rest, and it gave us a chance to reset, refocus, and hopefully that pays off for us.
Did you guys take the last couple of days off, or how did you kind of use this time?
Yeah, last year was different. We had 3 weeks off with the COVID pause, so we really needed practice time this year because so banged up and such a short rotation. We really needed rest and recovery. And so each and every year, each and every team's a different situation. Our guys got a chance to see what it's like playing in tournaments, and experience what it's like playing in the Big 12 and the best conference in the country. And at the same time, it's a different feeling when I think Iowa State was great for us because you learned how to play with a lot of pressure trying to win a conference championship. And then the Big 12 tournament will be a learning experience that hopefully will benefit us too.
All right, Scott, thanks.
Thank you.
Next question from Curtis Quillen with KCEN TV in Waco.
Hey, Scott, when you look at your little 14 pod, I know you haven't had a chance to break down film on anybody yet with the selection show just ending, but when you see Norfolk State, North Carolina, Marquette, what are your surface level thoughts on that pod?
Well, again, I think every time in the NCAA tournament, you look at your pod and you're like, man, we got a really tough pod. So I think no matter where you're at, you probably say the exact same thing. But Norfolk State is a team that's had tournament success before. I remember when they were a 15 seed and beat Missouri in the tournament. And I believe in 2019 in the NIT, they beat Alabama. So, I mean, this is a team that's had postseason success. They've had a history of winning and doing well, especially the last 9 years. So with us, you gotta focus on the first game. And if you don't, you don't get a chance to look at the others. Obviously, North Carolina has great tradition, and Shaka's done an unbelievable job with Marquette this year, and we're very familiar with him.
Next question from Eric Kelly with KWKT TV in Waco.
Coach, you talked about playing in some of those earlier tournaments, especially this season. What's the biggest thing that, you find as something where that is helpful from one tournament to another?
Well, I think those early season tournaments are so valuable in multiple ways. One, your teams really haven't been on the road together. They haven't experienced that bonding and chemistry together. They get a chance to do that in a different environment outside of their element. And obviously, when you're playing in tournaments with 7 other teams, you really rely more on each other, and you stick together and you grow closer together. Toward the end of the year, it's the same thing, although now you already spent time together. So it allows you to kind of refocus, reset, regroup, and know this is the last hurrah. And if you like being with one another and you want to keep playing for one another, you got a chance to survive. If you don't, if you're tired of each other, you're probably going home.
Next question from Jerry Hill, Baylor Insider.
Scott, I know you lost a lot, obviously, from that championship team, but guys like Adam and Flo, the experience they got, how much does that help them? And Matthew, how much does that help them going into this tournament, you think?
Definitely that helps them, and it gives them a great chance to leadership wise to be able to express what they do know and what they've learned. And John, even though he's not playing, he's able to help guys as well. And LJ, I mean, so all those people that experience what it was like to win in postseason definitely know what you have to do to prepare and how intense it is. So that's always a plus. Plus, anytime your staff is able to grow and improve and learn, hopefully that helps your players as well.
Thanks, Scott.
Next question from Kevin Lundquist with SigmaSports.com.
Scott, on top of that, just the growth that you've seen over the last month from both Jeremy and Kendall, obviously Jeremy winning Big 12 Sixth Man of the Year, but just the overall growth of those two, what have you seen from them?
Well, I think both of them, if you watch film in the beginning of conference, were good players, but they're much more battle tested, a lot more physical. They've gone through the rigors of the Big 12 and are better because of it. At the same time, I think they got a chance to experience what tournament play is like. And at the Big 12 tournament, you got teams that don't want to go home, and they're going to leave it all out there, put it all on the line. And it's even another level. You got to raise your game. So again, that's the Big 12 tournament always does a great job preparing us for the NCAA tournament, from how it's run to just what to expect with the physicality and toughness and a passion people are playing with. And I mean, Oklahoma was on the bubble, and they played like it. They played like a team that didn't want to go home.
Next question from Stephen Hawkins of the Associated Press.
We talked about those guys, but Adam Flagler, what have you seen his growth this year? I mean, the fact, obviously, he had to kind of play behind some guys last year, wait his time, but he stepped up in a role and he's done pretty good. Just talk, what have you seen in him this year?
Well, Adam's somebody that he cares about his teammates. He always puts them first. And because of that, they trust him, respect him, and he makes big plays. And it seems like the bigger the moment, the better he performs. And he stays within himself. He doesn't try to do too much. And it's a comfort to have somebody like that is out there and has had that experience.
And you talk about caring for people. I told David, I always enjoy the line that he wants to be a pediatrician one day.
Yeah.
How good do you think he'll be at that? What kind of characteristics does he have? I know he wants to play basketball, but long before that. But what do you see from a guy like that has that kind of aspirations?
Well, I think first, if you want to be a pediatrician, that means you have to manage your time well, because as you know, probably not the classes that you took in college or I took. So he's definitely diligent with his classwork. At the same time, prioritizes basketball and probably cuts into his social life, and just time to waste playing video games or doing things that don't help him academically or basketball wise. And then with that also, I think when you know a guy cares for his teammates when he's always looking out for him. And what I mean is, hey, let's run this play for so-and-so. Let's get him a touch. You can always tell in 5-on-0 offense, if someone's coming off a game where they didn't shoot it as well, he's passing them the ball a little bit more to give them more reps and more confidence. I mean, he puts others first, and you can recognize that. And I think all people want to follow someone that puts other people ahead of themselves.
Thanks, Scott.
Next question from Curtis Quill and KCEN TV.
Scott, I know you're inundated with your own team, but when you look at everything going on within a 30-minute radius of you in college basketball, one of your former assistants is in Belton, just made a Sweet 16 run. Their men's program at UMHB just made an Elite 8 run. How hot is college basketball in this area with the success you and Coach Collin have had at Baylor combined with everybody else in the area?
Yeah, I think you look at football, men's and women's basketball, all winning conference, and that first time it's happened in Big 12 play, and hopefully the women get a #1 seed tonight. And great things have been happening at Baylor, and there's no secret why, because we got great leadership from President Livingstone to Mac Rhodes to great the Baylor family coming out and supporting our teams, and obviously a lot of great players that have really put the school first and been able to achieve a lot because of that. So a lot of exciting times. And like you said, especially if you're in Central Texas and you like sports, there's a lot of great games to go to and a lot of winning to cheer about.
Final question from Eric Kelly with KBKT TV.
Coach, you touched on it a few days ago when you guys were still not sure whether or not you would get a 1 seed. Now that you are a 1 seed, what does that confirm to you based on what you thought 2 or 3 days ago?
Well, I'm first of all, probably a couple teams had to lose to help with that, and we couldn't control our own destiny. And you always like to do that rather than having to rely on other teams. But at the same time, I think you take a step back and say, to be a #1 seed, would be 3 years in a row. That's pretty impressive. So that means the guys have really done a great job in putting the program first. And now it's the best month of the year, and it's a time to put your best foot forward.
All right, that's all we have for Coach. Everybody hang tight. We'll get James Akinjo in here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Ask James all the tough questions.
Thanks. All right, we got James Akinjo ready to go. Questions for him, use the raise hand function. First up, John Warner with the Waker Tribune Herald.
James, what does this mean to you to earn a #1 seed for this team?
It means a lot. I think most importantly, we get to play the first couple games closer to where we at. So I think we're gonna have a lot of fan support and feel more comfortable and have to travel less and take care of business.
Next question from Kendall Cout with Second 365.
James, it'll be your first time playing in the NCAA tournament. What are you looking forward to the most about that experience?
Man, I'm just looking forward to having fun. I'm looking forward to playing in a crazy atmosphere and competing at a high level.
Next question, Stephen Hawkins of the Associated Press.
James, I know you guys would have liked to have won a Big 12 championship, but having those couple of days off, and Coach Drew talks about there's a chance to reset. What have these couple of days done for you? And how does it?
Hawk, I think we lost you. Could you restate the question? Hawk, we'll come back to you. I think something happened with your mic. Next question from Eric Kelly with KBKT TV.
James, just with this team and getting a #1 seed, obviously you have to do something with it, but accomplishing that, what does that confirm to you or tell you about this team?
I think it tells what the whole world already know. We're still really good. We're still really dangerous, even though we suffered a lot of injuries this year. I think that, we're still one of the best teams in the country. So to have this #1 seed is a testament to how hard our guys have worked and, how well our coaches have come and executed game plans throughout the year.
Next question from Curtis Quill with KCEN TV.
James, to get to this point, #1 seed, you mentioned that you guys feel like it states that you guys are really dangerous, but on the inverse, what's the message like in the locker room? What's the expectation in the locker room to be able to get that and you guys trying to make a run, get to Philly, potentially New Orleans?
We got to just reset and just get ready to take it one game at a time. You can't win the whole thing in one day. We know that. So we got to just, have some great practices coming up and just be ready to go.
Next question from Eric Kelly with KBKT TV.
I guess I'll just continue Steven's question there. Just for you guys, obviously, what was the biggest thing that you got out of having a couple of days off? Obviously, with you guys being shorthanded, I assumed a little bit of rest helped a little bit.
I think that's the most important, our rest. We got a lot of guys that's banged up right now, and we got a lot of guys that's kind of going through the grudges of a long season. So I think the rest and the chance to reset is what we gain the most from having a couple days off.
Next question from Andrew Minor.
Yeah, James, I was curious what type of conversations you've had with Adam Flagler. He was a really key member of the championship team last year. Just any advice that he's given to you about the tournament play?
We talked about it a little bit, but I mean, I think it's the same going in. His role is a lot different than it was last year. Obviously he got a bigger role than he had last year, so it's kind of new for him being in this type of role heading into the tournament. So, I mean, we know what's expected of us. We know what we got to do to win, and I think we know how to win, and that's what we got to do.
I have a question for James from Kevin Lonnquist of SickerSports.com.
Yeah, James, you've been through 3 big conferences between the Big East, the Pac-12, and now the Big 12. What did you get from this experience in the Big 12 that you think could make a difference for you going into the tournament and hopefully for yourselves making a deep run?
Well, I think every win in the Big 12 is a tournament win. So we obviously feel like we know how to win in the tournament. We've been in close games. We've been in grudge matches. And I think just the physicality that the Big 12 plays with, I think that's going to carry over into the tournament. We compete at a high level every night in the Big 12, and you don't know what you're going to get from these different teams that we're playing against. So I think that the physicality, the defense, and just the learning how to win close games is what we going to pick up.
All right, that's all we have for James. James, thanks for your time. We'll get Flo in here in just a second. All right, if you have a question for Flo, please use the raise hand function, and I'll call on you individually. First up, John Warner with the Waco Tribune-Herald.
Flo, coming off that national championship run last year, how is that going to help you guys, just getting through this tournament, knowing what to expect?
I mean, we have a couple few guys, from the last year's group, who have experience, and obviously we also have a lot of young guys. But with me, Matt, and Adam, and John, all the guys from last year, and just basically put the new guys in a better perspective and helping them out, in certain situations. And as far as how big of a position we're in to be number 1 seed, and also just how much work we gotta put, because obviously we're very much undermined by a lot of people, but we just gotta show them we can stick together and make a deep run in this tournament.
Next question from Stephen Hawkins at the Associated Press.
Well, how different is the feeling though this year getting the number 1 seed as opposed to last year when you guys, this year was, like you said, it was a little unexpected, but how different does it feel this time?
I mean, it feels, first of all, it feels good. I've been part of this program for 4 years. As you can all remember, my freshman year was very much a battle. Are we even going to make the tournament? And now we're looking for the past 2 years to be number 1 seed. So, the program has come a long way. We're in a better light right now. It's amazing to celebrate with everybody, the success that we have. But like I said, nothing is very much guaranteed, but we're just proud that we were achieved to be number 1 seed and just looking forward to play our first game.
I guess they always say it's harder to stay on top than get there, but at least, you guys go into this tournament as the reigning national champions. I mean, is that any more pressure? Is it just kind of you guys have to restart?
I don't think it's any more pressure. It's just we just got to focus on executing and playing our best basketball. It was pressure when we had to play our first game when the season started, but we went past that. Now it's time to create a new chapter for ourselves.
All right, man. Thanks.
Next question from Jerry Hill, Baylor Insider.
Flo, how much did it help getting a couple extra days rest, after you left the tournament? And how quickly did you put that loss behind you moving forward?
That's the best thing about our team. We never really dwell on the past. We always, move on to the next thing. And coach very much elaborated that, right after the post game talk, and it was just like, hey, we got to focus on the next thing. And obviously, it was, we healed up and preparation for the tournaments and everything. But we never really like to dwell on the past. So we're just looking forward to Norfolk State.
This question from Kendall Cott with 6365.
Flo, you've done a good job staying out of foul trouble since John got hurt. Have you done anything kind of consciously on the defensive end to make sure you're not getting into foul trouble since he's been out?
I've been working with the coaching staff and just pointing out in key areas to where I can stay out of foul troubles, but we're still being very much impactful to the game. My physical presence, especially on the defensive side, and also on the defensive side of offensive rebounding. I've always been aggressive, but with John being out, I got to be more cautious about being in certain areas, where you can easily pick up easy quick fouls. So, but I feel like I've done a great job in that. Also, just trusting the coaching staff and reviewing the film and all that stuff.
This question from Eric Kelly with KTTV.
Well, how nice is it to have, at least for those first two games, kind of a short drive close by and everything that goes into having that kind of close tournament game?
It's exciting. When you get to play in Texas, you get to play in your home state. It's definitely good. I'm even more excited because it's going to be the first time my parents can actually come to the game and watch me play college basketball. So ain't no better feeling than that.
This question from Curtis Quill, KCNTV.
Flo, as one of the guys who was on the team that won a national title last year, what would another chance to make a run in March mean to you guys?
It would mean a lot. It would mean a lot. But, when we started the season, it was very much a highlight of us, to go back to back. And, the goal is still very much available. But we just got to focus on each step at a time, which is obviously the first game. And we can't, get ahead of ourselves and, think about all the way to the Final Four, but just thinking about one game at a time.
This question from Andrew Miner.
Yeah, Flo, you guys, before the national championship game last year, you learned that Gonzaga got champagne and you guys really came out with a chip on your shoulder. And despite being the #1 seed now, there's a lot of talk about other teams in the brackets from whatever region. Just curious what you and the team are doing to stay motivated and play with that same intensity for this tournament moving forward.
I'm just very much proud of the guys. Our guys are just natural competitors. We always have that winning mindset. Even the new guys coming in, from being in their respective school and, competing at a high level. So they kind of still brought that same attitude to this program. And there's one thing about the guys that you can never, undermine that ability to go out there and play hard. So I just feel like we have natural winners. And when you have a bunch of guys like that in the team, it's good. It fuels us to, to go out there and perform to the highest of our ability.
This question from David Spoke with 6365 Radio.
Flo, what have you learned about yourself, but also your teammates as you have had to go through this grind of depth and injuries and been resilient as you've been?
I've learned a lot about myself. One of the biggest things I learned is just my ability to be a leader on this team. And this has basically been the works upon, just being here for so long, and also, looking at all the predecessors who were in the past, from Freddie, from Mark, from Davion, all the guys, even came all the way back to my freshman year with King McClure and Jake Lindsey. Now I've been blessed, to be a part of different teams and also just have an opportunity to just learn a lot from them. And I've learned a lot to just, from the stuff done on the court and even just being a better leader off the court, helping the guys, fill up in different roles and stuff. So I just feel like I've grown a lot. It's 4 years is a long time. So, yeah.
Final question for Flo from Curtis Quillen with KCNTV in Waco.
Flo, I was just looking to clarify. I know you mentioned your parents would be able to watch you play college basketball for the first time. Was that your sister came to a game a couple of weeks ago? Was it just her, and this is the first time your parents will get to see you in college?
Yes, very much. So my sister, that was the first time seeing me play. It's similarly going to be the same thing with my parents. The last time my parents actually saw me play was senior night back in high school. And ever since then, they've just watched highlights here and there of seeing me in college, but it's actually going to be the first time they would be in attendance and watch me play an actual college game.
How emotional, how special is that for you?
Emotionally, I'm not really a guy to be emotional like that, but it's just a good feeling, more so for my mom, because, she's always, supported me in a lot of ways, and just seeing her and just seeing the fruits of the labor that we've, been away from each other for so long, just seeing how, it's just going to be special to us. Like, man, we get to celebrate this thing as a family.
All right, so we have Flo. Flo, thanks for your time. Everybody hang tight. We'll get Matthew Meyer in here, and that's our last one. All right, we'll get started with Matthew Meyer. If you have questions for him, please use the raise hand function, and I'll call on you individually. First up, John Warner with the Waco Tribune Herald.
Matt, how do you feel like last year's national championship run's going to help you guys as far as the confidence you might have coming in?
We just won't have the what's it called, paper ceiling, and we just know that, you know, we've been here before. We have some guys that won't be afraid of the moment. Like, I don't know, it'll be pretty much the same. Like, at the end of the day, we're just playing basketball.
This question from Kendall Cott with 6365.
Matt, two-parter. Is there anything a little bit different knowing, hey, this could be the last game in your Baylor career? And then did you all get a chance to talk about Jimmy Fallon with that song with the coaches?
Yeah, the Jimmy Fallon thing was hilarious. Everybody keeps saying John Jacobs, John Jacobs. But this being my last game, yeah, but like I'm gonna be honest, like I play really hard every game. So like my goal coming into this year was to win Defensive Player of the Year, and I didn't end up getting that, but like I feel like I put together a good resume, put myself in a position to be that, and that's really just effort. So yeah, I mean it definitely like makes me maybe like a little nostalgic to think it might be my last game, but I'm gonna play it just as hard as I always do.
Next question for Eric Kelly with KBKT TV.
Matt, a lot of the talk coming into the season was, losing a lot from that national championship team. Now, months later, and you guys are a number one seed once again. What did that prove or show, or what does that represent to you?
Well, for myself, I actually said this to the team. The coach was like asking what we thought it meant to win the Big 12 championship, and I just said like, coming out of high school, I was kind of labeled as like talented but not a winner, and it just feels good to be able to like prove it to myself that I don't know, like, you know, I'm gritty and I can help my team win when I'm playing a lot of minutes, stuff like that. Just kind of, yeah, it feels good.
Next question from Andrew Miner.
Yeah, Matt, what are you looking forward to this year about the tournament? Whereas last year you guys were confined to the bubble in Indianapolis, and this year you can travel to different cities just depending on how far you go. And what are you advising your teammates on how to make sure you put distractions aside with this increased new element?
Well, I mean, everybody on my team is like conducts themselves like pros, and a lot of them are about to be pros. So there's nothing really I need to tell them. It's their career in their hands, and I know they want to win. So, we trust them to take care of themselves. And, yeah, I mean, we're a team that just, has a goal in mind, and I think we're gonna do our best to take care of it.
Next question from Eric Kelly with KBKT TV.
Off of that travel question now, Matt, what's the cool part about being able to play so close and keep it in the state of Texas for the first two rounds?
Yeah, we're excited to have fans just cheering us on, that energy. It really it's something we were missing last year. Like, we won the championship, but in some ways it didn't feel quite like we won the championship because the crowd wasn't going crazy. It didn't feel as high pressure. I mean, it definitely felt like, March Madness, but it just wasn't like, you just don't feel that same energy. So we're super excited to have fans back, and also to have it in Texas. We know we're gonna have a lot of support, so it'll be fun.
Final question from Kevin Logquist with SickerSports.com.
Matt, I asked Scott this earlier, but the growth that you've seen from playing on the floor with Kendall and Jeremy over the last month, how have you seen their games change, evolve, grow, that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, they both came in so elite. So I think they've just been working steadily all year. I think they're more comfortable, but they've had the talent since the day they stepped on campus. So I think it's really just they know what they need to do, like their exact role of what they want to do. So it's just been fun playing with these guys all year.